Universalist Church of Berkeley. I'm Reverend Marcus, so glad to be with you here today. Happy Valentine's Day to those who celebrated. Happy Lunar New Year coming up on Tuesday for those who celebrate. Happy Sunday. Glad you are here. I want to especially welcome anyone who's visiting with us for the first time today. We hope that no matter who you are or how you make your living, no matter whom you love or how you experience the sacred, you'll feel welcome with us here in the fullness of your being. We acknowledge each week as we gather here at the intersection of arts, justice, and spirituality that we gather on the unceded territory of the Chochenyo-speaking Ohlone people, what they would have called Huchiyun. And we know that we've inherited a broken covenant with the first peoples of this place and with the earth itself. We hope that we'll have the humility and the courage to live into a new solidarity. If there's ever something on your heart that you would like lifted up aloud during the service, a grief or gratitude, joy or sorrow, there's a memory book in the back of the sanctuary. You can write it there, and I'll speak it aloud during our pastoral prayer. You're always also welcome to simply light a candle for a silent memory or prayer. Everyone's invited to stick around after the service. Make your way all the way through the atrium into the social hall for our shared lunch. I know many folks brought things to share for a potluck today. Thanks for those who could. For those who couldn't, please stay anyway. Enjoy some food and connection. This is what this place is about. We have been exploring over this past several weeks a worship series about full spectrum living, how the interior places get touched by the light of the world in so many different ways. And we're going to end today by thinking about how we hold that light all together, what it means to hold all the different qualities of light within us and that we each see and bring in one larger vision. Would you rise in body or in spirit? And before we sing our first hymn, we'll just turn towards the back of the sanctuary and wave to those joining us on Facebook or YouTube. We're so glad you are here. And then turn and greet your neighbor. Wish them a happy Sunday.
like to invite Megan Dibble to light the chalice with these words from the poet John O'Donohue. All that is eternal in me, welcome the wonder of this day, the field of brightness it creates, offering time for each thing to arise and illuminate. May my mind come alive today to the invisible geography that invites me to new frontiers, to break the dead shell of yesterdays, to risk being disturbed and changed. May I have the courage today to live the life I would love, to postpone my dream no longer, but to do at last what I came here for, and waste my heart on fear no more. May it be so.
Many windows, one light, many waters, one sea. All lifted hearts are free. Many windows, one light, many waters, one sea. All lifted hearts are free. Hold out your light, you heaven-bound soldier. Hold out your light, you heaven-bound soldier. Hold out your light, you heaven-bound soldier. Let your light shine around the world. Children singing. Hold out your light, you heaven-bound soldier. Hold out your light, you heaven-bound soldier. Hold out your light, you heaven-bound soldier. Let your light shine around the world. Oh, keep your lamps trimmed and burning. Keep your lamps trimmed and burning. Keep your lamps trimmed and burning. The tide is drawing nigh. Keep your lamps trimmed and burning. Keep your lamps trimmed and burning. Keep your lamps trimmed and burning. The tide is drawing nigh. We are marching in the light of love. 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 We are marching, marching, we are marching, marching, we are marching in the light of love. We are marching, marching, we are marching, marching, we are marching in the light of love. 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 We are marching, marching, we are marching, marching, we are marching in the light of love. We are marching, marching, we are marching, marching, we are marching in the light of love. marching in the light of love. We are marching in the light of love. We are marching, marching, we are marching, marching, we are marching in the light of love. We are marching, marching, we are marching, marching, we are marching in the light of love. Marching in the light of
No music. I want to tell you a story this morning called The Redbud Tree. And this story is about a kingdom in a place that really has no trees, a desert kingdom which has four princes. Four princes. And one day, these four princes, that is a very hard word to say over and over, but we're gonna do it. They overhear the king's new driver tell a story about a magical redbud tree. Far, far from this dry and dusty kingdom. And he says, this tree is like magic. You would not believe what it looks like. Oh, I feel so lucky to have seen it. It reflects who I am, says the driver. And each prince resolves then and there that they must go and see this tree. They must go see it for themselves. And so it happens in the summer, the second prince goes to the driver and he says, you must take me to this tree. And the driver, probably having realized what is going to happen, says, it is a very long trip, but I will do so. And so they sneak off early in the morning, and they drive, and they drive, and they drive. Think coach and carriage, not car. They go a long way to see the redwood tree. And they get to it, and the second prince says, oh, this tree is exactly as I am. Look at its green. It is alive. It shelters all who need it. Oh, I have seen the truth of the redbud tree. And they go back. And about 3 months later, the oldest prince finds a way to slip away from his brothers, and he goes to the driver and he says, you must take me to this magic redbud tree. And the driver says, of course, my prince. And they drive, and they drive, and they drive. And they get to the redbud tree, which is covered in long seed pods that rattle in the wind. And the first prince says, this tree is exactly like me. It is odd and quirky and full of music. I know the truth of the redbud tree. And they go back. And then the third prince finds a way, about 3 months later, to do the same. And he goes to the driver, and they do the same, and they get to the tree, which is stark. It's basically just the limbs and the trunk. And the third prince says, this tree, this is the truth of me. I am solitary and alone, and I watch out for everything like a soldier looking out at his people. And they go back. And 3 princes have their truths. And then finally, the youngest prince, about 3 months later, goes to the driver to see the redbud tree, and they drive and they drive and they drive, and the tree is covered in tiny red and pink buds. And the prince says, "Oh, the truth of this tree, it is so real for me. It is delicate and beautiful, just like I am." That is the truth of the tree. And because he's the youngest, when he goes back, he rushes to tell his brothers what he has seen. "I have seen the redbud tree. I've seen the truth of the redbud tree, and it is delicate and beautiful, just as I am." And his brothers look at him like he is crazy. And they say, "No, no, no, it is solitary and stern." And then they say, "No, it is full of life." Or it is quirky and musical. And they begin to argue, and they argue, and they argue, and they argue, because each is convinced they alone have the truth. And the driver sees this happening, and he thinks, should I tell them? Should I not tell them? What do you think he does? That is my story. Please rise in body and spirit and sing the children out with all lifted, something about windows.
I invite you to take a deeper breath and rest more deeply in your seat. To feel your connection down to this good, this holy earth. As the Lunar New Year arrives, lanterns will be hung, candles lit on altars, stories told of immortals reaching for love across the stars in the sky. Sparks of light held in common vision remind elders of childhood wonder, delight young eyes with joys of celebration. Meanwhile, the magnolias burst forth, having transformed sunshine into delicate pink and white flesh as new green leaves bud, begin to capture the light once more. We clasp the hands of those that go before us, writes Wendell Berry, and the hands of those who come after us. We enter the little circle of each other's arms and the larger circle of lovers whose hands are joined in a dance, and the larger circle of all creatures passing in and out of life, who move also in a dance to a music so subtle and vast, no ear hears it except in fragments. O God of fragments, of circles and light, Dance in us once more this day. Reveal in us the way we belong to more than we can say. The way we belong to more than we can know, more than we can think or sense. Even in this stillness we share, let us feel ourselves a part of that great dance. Even in this quiet, let us hear that music so subtle and vast. In this community of care and witness, we hold one another through the seasons of our lives. We lift up those joys and sorrows among us. Janice is sending love to her nephew Jeff, who lost his mother Thursday night. May his mother Tracy rest in peace. Megan Dibble is so grateful to have spent 6 years caring for Han Solo, a 2,000-pound rescued steer. Run free, sweet Han. We miss you dearly. And someone else is remembering Han. Rest in peace, sweet thing. Someone is celebrating. Juliet is in the house, first time at UUCB. Welcome, welcome. Reed offers good vibrations for my partner Myrna, a patient care technician at Kaiser Hospital in Oakland. She works so hard. She's at work today. And Gail is sending beams of support to Gabriel, struggling with addiction. And someone shares what's on many of our hearts. May we hold the suffering in Sudan in our hearts and minds. For all that we have named aloud, for all that yet remains in the silent sanctuaries of our hearts, may each of us know that what you hold here in this sanctuary or wherever you are joining us from is held in the loving embrace of this community. And by that love beyond all name, that love that cannot and will not let us go. And we ring the bell that still can ring each week, holding space where words cannot, for our grief and outrage at the state of our nation. In the beginning, according to the Jewish legend of Tikkun Olam, the holy God stepped back to make more space in the universe. And when God stepped back, God infused vessels with the holy light of existence, the spark of the divine. And this light in these vessels sailed forth out into the universe and shattered because the vessels couldn't hold the light. And those shattered fragments of light, they scattered everywhere into everything and everyone, and our work on this planet, our job in these lives, is to bear and find that light, to participate in the repair of the world, Tikkun Olam. So much is broken. I was talking to a friend recently about the astronomical rise in her healthcare costs, which we're feeling too in my family, with our church staff, our budget. I'm sure many of you are facing the challenging reality of how broken that system is still. My friend was having a conversation with the HR person responsible for navigating this with her, and she said, what are we going to do about this, my friend? What are we going to do? And the HR person said, I don't know, it just looks like we're moving more and more to the society of the haves and the have-nots. And what my friend told me walking the other day was, I wanted the response, the quick quip, to say back to her, to deflect that cynicism, to respond to it with some faithful conviction. It doesn't have to be this way. Now, my friend is a theologian, so as we were talking about this, we got on to talking about how light is both a wave and a particle. I can't quite get you from one thing to the other there, but that's what we ended up talking about. And isn't that amazing? That light is both a wave and a particle. It brings to mind our process theology, this idea that God is somehow the movement of the universe becoming. God is encompassing all that is and is in the movement of becoming what it is going to be. And so this light being a particle and a wave, it actually is the place, one of the many places now where science is degrading its own foundation. Here's what I mean by that. The foundation of our scientific worldview is modernity, right? The house of modernity. And modernity is, in the words of Chief Ninenwa Hunikui, built on the foundation of separability. The idea that you can separate one thing from anything else, to isolate it, to analyze it, and understand just exactly how it functions alone in the universe. Chief Kui says that separability, which is entangled with colonialism, it's a metabolic and neurophysiological impairment that affects us all. Separability. This idea that it's possible even, that it's conceivable to see or touch or talk about or describe or analyze or understand anything as a separate entity apart from anything else. It is a foundational part of modernity's worldview. But in fact, he says, that has become a metabolic and neurophysiological impairment. We are, at a cellular level, hindered in our ability to perceive reality as it is because of this disease of separability. The metaphor we've been using these past several weeks, many windows, one light, that cathedral of the world that I was describing a few weeks ago, you can imagine it as a rationalistic, well-ordered version of the cathedral. The one that sits comfortably within modernity's habits of mind, has its windows all laid out in a sensible pattern. Rooms ordered by various religions and philosophical traditions. And even so, it's a beautiful truth that one light, many windows, one sacred source, infinite hues and dimensions of its expression. And Forest Church, whose words I was using to describe it a few weeks ago, he says, in our congregations, we honor this truth by encouraging our members to reflect on the light through whatever set of windows they find most illuminating. We only require, he says, that this freedom, this same freedom, be honored for others. But the true cathedral of the world is a really much messier place. It's a messier place where everything is entangled with everything. One light, many windows, and an infinite entanglement. Worship at whatever windows you find most illuminating, sure, but you'll never be able to avoid the particles passing over your left shoulder, filtered through the window of your neighbor whose faith you claim you cannot fathom. To live in the cathedral of the world is not an orderly division of me at my window and you at yours and a respectful tolerance between us. No, to live, to be truly alive in the cathedral of the world requires what I would call the wisdom of the wilder mind. The wilder mind that tries to hold light as a particle and a wave all at once and laughs at its inability to do so. It was the wilder mind that Rabbi Isaac Luria inhabited, the 16th century rabbi who first taught that story of Tikkun Olam. He was a student of the Kabbalah, of Jewish mysticism, born to a generation trying to make meaning in the aftermath of catastrophe. He was born in 1534, and it's likely that his parents or grandparents were part of the diaspora that were kicked out of Spain in 1492. You know about 1492, right? Rough year for most of the world. Spain in 1492, a moment of what I hear some of our political leaders call the so-called greatness of Western civilization, when King Ferdinand and Queen Isabella ordered the Alhambra Decree, scapegoating the Jewish and Muslim people of the land, forcing them to flee the country, just as they set Christopher Columbus to sail the ocean blue. Under the banner of greatness, the spread of a Catholic hegemony, they ruptured the centuries of thriving multiculturalism in Andalusia, this region in Spain, which had been one of the centers of cultural and scientific achievement since the 8th century. Andalusia, where Muslims and Jews and Christians had worked together, had cooperated and shared their cultural innovations, became now inhospitable to much of the population. After the Alhambra Decree, the refugees fled in every direction, including to Palestine. And Rabbi Luria, or the Ari as he was known, was born in Jerusalem, then lived in Egypt, and eventually found himself in a refugee community of Safed, a hub for textiles, this little city on the hill full of narrow alleys and the smell of wool dye became the place where students flocked to his light. Under the religious tolerance still practiced there, promoted by the Ottoman Empire, inspired by the Muslim interest in religious freedom and tolerance. The mystical religious imagination flourished, and Rabbi Luria inspired students with a vision of the fractured cosmos, reflecting the fractures within them, of a world and of a people, alight with the sparks of divine light despite all the brokenness in their lives, of a process of healing that was never complete, but nonetheless necessary and real. His students knew he was a little bit crazy. They described him as being in a constant conversation with the unseen, the wilder mind. Do you know your own wilder mind? Have you been to those places where people might think if you said it out loud you were a little bit crazy? You might call them extreme states, or you might get diagnosed if you go into the wrong room and talk about them. I've shared before, and some of you know, I've experienced psychosis a couple of times in my life, and one of the times I was on an airplane, and suddenly I was in communication with some aliens very far away. One of those things you really shouldn't tell people. And they were contemplating what to do with humankind and the earth. And it's because it seemed like we really had kind of, we've come to the end of this experiment, haven't we? And I found myself on the plane talking to these aliens, pleading for just a little while longer that we might have a chance to let this catastrophe of our civilization collapse and regrow something new. I could see it so viscerally clear in that state, what it would look like, these communities coming to life across the earth, learning to live in harmony with the land and with each other, learning a new humanity, a new earthlingship. Imagine you also know moments of the wilder mind. Maybe not psychosis, but a child's intuition, or the wisdom of a dream, or that sense of being driven mad by a project you're working on, or entranced by a piece of art. Every one of us has been blessed with a sacred piece of the truth, has been illuminated in this cathedral of the world. And the wild and disturbing differences, they're the point. The wild and disturbing differences among us and all around us, they're the point. This is a core truth of our tradition, a healing truth that the broken places in our country and our world and ourselves are calling for. In every tradition, every culture, every person, there is beauty and wisdom. Those whom with we most vigorously disagree, who most disgust and disturb us, our truth says we must refuse to demonize them. We put faith in their inherent worth and dignity. We put faith in that whatever they know about God, about the ultimate nature of reality, even if it doesn't make any sense to us, they too somehow hold a piece of the truth. This truth calls us to humility, to bow before those many windows, bow in the face of mystery, bow to the other who thinks so differently, acknowledging in reverence that whatever light we ourselves have seen, it shines just as brightly on them. But our truth doesn't end with this humility. We only require that this same freedom be honored for others. This, too, is our faith that because we all hold a piece of the truth, because we are illuminated by the same light, because every one of us All beings are born into this cathedral of the world. The ideologies that hold that there is one and only one path to God, to love, to salvation, are hollow and bankrupt. That white supremacy or xenophobia, misogyny and heteropatriarchy, anti-Semitism and Islamophobia, these ways of thinking, they have no place in the cathedral of the world. This is our conviction. Many windows, one light. We need not think alike to love alike. And here's the ironic but honest truth. Don't you wish everyone thought like that? Don't you wish everyone honored the other with curiosity and respect? Don't you wish we could convert the whole world to Unitarian Universalism? What I mean is this. We have a vision of a pluralistic world community that roots its moral framework in a profound interdependence, and it is good and right to spread this vision with conviction. I don't wish everyone in the world to call themselves Unitarian Universalists, to worship like us, or organize their committee meetings like us, God forbid, or start lighting chalices all the time, or anything like that. But I do want the whole world to approach beliefs different than one's own the way we aspire to. I want the whole world to look around and see in our differentness and diversity the cathedral of the world. I want us to all worship at the feet of Audre Lorde, the prophet who said, "It's not our differences that divide us, it's our inability to recognize, accept, and celebrate those differences." It is the metabolic and neurophysiological healing from separability, the spiritual practice that requires our entire beings to keep deepening and growing into more accountable and relational bearers of the light. It's about a faith that carries not certainty but conviction, a humility that is not self-deprecating but curious and open and playful and grounded. Humility, which comes from humus, meaning of the earth. It's the same root as humor and humiliation, all having to kind of do with a closeness to the earth, a willingness to get dirty. And many have noted that in our president and other authoritarians, there's a real lack of a sense of humor. That perhaps it's driven by a need to stay on top, a profound fear of being humiliated, of being brought down to earth. It's typical of these strongmen leaders. The lack of humor of the authoritarian is a distancing from the humus, from participating in the painful vulnerability of being human, of admitting their entanglement in this vast web of interrelatedness. And that instinct to try and separate ourselves from the reality of our entanglement, to just pick one already, be a particle or a wave, to try and refuse the humiliation of our earthly existence. That impulse, it's in all of us, isn't it? But you are both wave and particle. You are a finder and bearer of the original light stuff of the universe, a broken vessel and one more redeemer, an earthling entangled with all the other earthlings, and together there's no telling all the light we can hold between us. My friend found her quip, the retort she would bring to bear to shine a holy light in the face of the cynicism that eats at so many of us that we are powerless to do anything as the cracks in our society rip us apart. Well, you know, she'll say, in Germany, in just one generation after the defeat of the Nazis, they grew into a society that could provide universal health care, child care, and university education to anyone who wanted it. So much is still possible. With humility and conviction, let us celebrate difference and unlearn separability. We are finders and bearers of light, and we are lucky enough to have found one of the rare communities in the world where atheists and theists, crazy New Agey mystics and hard-nosed, tough-minded rationalists gather and break bread together in the same humble cathedral and call themselves one people. Isn't that good news? Isn't that the very good news that a confused and broken world, a people torn apart by hatred and bigotry, by violence in the name of God, a people whose realities are tearing further and further apart, isn't that just the good news they need to hear? And who will proclaim it if not you? May it be so, and amen. I'm going to see my best to do this. Let's see. We share our plate. Every Sunday, we split our plate with a good neighbor organization. Oh, here comes Helen. She knows how to do this. Thank you, Helen. I'm sorry for the mix-up, whatever it was.
No,
Glad you're here.
Yeah, I'm supposed to do it next week.
Oh, well, you can do that too.
Okay, I don't have my script.
Oh, okay, I'll just finish it up then.
So I'll just stand beside you.
Okay, great. We're going to do this together. We're going to hold the light between us somehow, and we're going to let the wilder mind in, and that's going to organize some of the things that we do together.
And we know it's Youth Spirit Artworks.
It's Youth Spirit Artworks. Thank you. Youth Spirit Artworks is a wonderful organization. Talk about some people dealing with wilder minds. Homeless, unhoused youth learning to make art together in order to build community and find a deeper grounding for their lives. Hallelujah. Give generously if you can.
Can I add something?
Yeah.
Okay. I do know that besides doing art, there are support services that the youth who are in this program have available to them. Social supports, job training, and so forth, that are really integral to the development of young people.
Yeah. So you can give with your QR code or by sticking something. We're going to actually, pretty soon, we're going to go back to passing the plate. We're going to, hey, all right, I'm glad you like that idea. I was a little nervous. We're going to have some fancy plates with like a thing you can tap with your credit card and all that. But we'll tell you all about that soon. But for now, keep sticking in the envelope, and there's the box out there, and there's the QR code, and you know the drill. Thank you for giving generously as you can. Let's say together our dedication of our offering. We dedicate our offering and ourselves to the mission of this congregation to create loving community, inspire spiritual growth, and encourage lives of integrity, joy, and service. Thank you. And I want to let you know also a few things happen in the life of our community. You can always find out what's going on by going to the website, looking under the week ahead. This is a community where we try and hold one another in care and in love. We deepen our own roots of our beings by showing up to have fun together, to learn and grow together. So if you can, visit the stewardship table that's going to be out there in the atrium all this month and next month to hear about the fun and exciting things that our stewardship team has planned for this annual pledge drive. You can get your form, make your pledge, and sign up for a fire circle or RSVP to the early pledge soiree, which I think is going to be like a sunset vibe out on the terrace. If you haven't seen a sunset on the terrace, it's a great way to hold the light. Registration is open now for our 2 summer camps that'll happen here. There's a ukulele camp in July and Chalice camp, our religious education for our children ages 5 and up in August. So sign up if you can. Join us for those camps. March 1st, Love Songs and Chocolates, an annual celebration of love and music and chocolate. Plan to stick around after the service, March 1st if you can for that. And then our own music director, Brian Baker, is offering a class that'll start the week after that, March 8th, and run into April and May. It's Michelle. Thank you. All right. I got the wrong note on that. Sorry. Our own Michelle Volike, former board president, former youth and children's choir leader, former all sorts of things, and current singer and musician among us. Michelle is going to be leading a class, Raise Your Voice in Love for Justice, learning to sing public witness songs and how to be loud without burning your voice out. So it's a good time to be practicing, to preparing together. So thanks so much for offering that, Michelle. All right, let's rise once more in body or in spirit, and we're going to sing a closing hymn. It's 318. It's the old anthem of liberal religious youth, We Would Be One. reach out a hand or touch a shoulder and let us be connected. O finders and bearers of the light, O shattered vessels, O beloveds, so much is broken and so much yet is possible. May we find and bear the light together, today and in all the days to come. Amen.